So, do you know what a dyslexic insomniac does all night? They sit up all night and think if dog really exists.
Man Up with Mark. Mark talks about everything under the sun. You may agree with him, and again, you may not.
I'd like to credit the comedian that said that line, but I can't remember who did it. But I know it was somebody out there, so hey, thanks for that joke. I credit you. It's not an original by me. Today, we're going to talk about my thoughts on religion.
Flap, flap, flap!
Is believing in God and believing in a religion the same?
I don't know.
Can you believe in God, a God, and not be involved with any religion? Well, let's talk about that. So let's first get the definition of religion. Right here we have it. And this is through dictionary.com. So it's got to be good.
Ah, well, it must be true if it's on the interweb.
I'm sure there's other sources that have other definitions, but dictionary.com will do for right now. So, religion. It's a noun. A set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, and purpose of the universe, especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies, usually involving devotional and ritual observances, and often containing a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. Wow, that's pretty wild. So there you go. That's the basic definition. There are also other sub-definitions, but we don't need to get into the sub-definitions of the Christian religion and the Buddhist religion and how they explain those. Yeah, whatever. There's all sorts of documentation on the different religions. There's all sorts of theologians out there that have studied and researched every book and every manuscript and every document known to man when it comes to God and religion. And again, for those people out there listening in the audio-only podcast world, I did the air quotes on God. And I'll give the air quotes on religion.
Whatever.
Transparency on my end. I was born... No, that's way too easy. I don't want to go there.
I was born a poor black child.
I was born into a Catholic family in the plains of this great nation.
South Dakota?
And for the most part was taught, fed, stuffed with the Catholic religion until I reached the ripe old age of about 16, and I started wandering off in search of, does dog really exist?
Ruff, ruff!
I must say I never explored really any other religions. I had many friends of many different denominations, many different religions, many different beliefs, and I would talk and discuss with them what their upbringing and what their raising was like in that certain religion. And I learned a lot from just talking to my friends and to talking to other people. I've read a few books on this and that. I am no scholar. I don't claim to be. I don't want to try to argue with anyone. Everybody out there can say, well, this is real because this is written. I will go back to the old adage, everything that's written was written by man's hands and man's mind. So I take things in that realm with a grain of salt. And when it comes to some religions, I'll empty the whole shaker out. Yeah, it can get that crazy. How many religions are there? Well, in the world, I don't know. There's a lot. But there's 20 or so well-known religions. I'm sure there's other religions, outliers and inliers and all of this that can come out of the weeds somewhere. But for the most part, with the 7.8 billion people, I think we're at 7.8 billion right now.
8 billion.
Hey, you people out there, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know. But I think we're at 7.8.
8 billion.
But with that many people and 20-some religions, there are only the big three. Well, in some counts, they'll say the big four. But I disregard the one religion because it's really not a religion. So, you've got, out of the 7.8 billion people,
8 billion.
you've got Christianity up there on top.
All right, we're number one.
Those Christians, they're on top with about 2.4 billion people that claim to be Christians. Are there really that many? Or is it just that easy to say I'm a Christian? That's a whole nother topic for another day. The next one up is Islam with 1.9 billion. After that is what I call not a religion, but they have it listed as the number 3 size religion in the world, and that is a secular, non-religious, they even say it's non-religious right in the listing, agnostic/atheistic. That's at 1.19 million, almost 1.2 million. The next one up is Hinduism. That's at 1.16 billion. Did I say million when it came to the secular non-religious? I meant to say 1.19 billion. Almost 1.2 billion. Make sure I get those billions right, not millions. My wife has that problem with zeros. She'll see something that says 4 million, and she'll say it's 40,000 or 400,000. She misses a zero sometimes.
Please don't blame your wife.
Any rate, all the rest after that are in the millions. Down the line, the other 16 or so religions of the world. I guess I will clarify myself to be in that non-religious category. I was born and raised in the Christian religion of Catholicism, but as I grew and started thinking for myself,
I would encourage you to think for yourself.
I more or less kind of faded to the thought of, I really don't need to be in a religion to think that there's a God. And that's where I may shock you. I don't believe there is a God. I think there's a possibility that there could be a God, but I don't believe. To me, believing in something like that closes your mind to other options. Now, some of you are going to say, well, what other option do you need? There's a God or there isn't a God. Why wouldn't you believe in God? You need to have a God. Yeah, not so true. You're going back to that definition of religion that talked about that whole structure and did all of that stuff and did all of this and that. In that definition, it didn't once reference God. It talked about a superhuman agency or agencies. It talked about devotional and ritual observations. It talked about a moral code governing the conduct of the human affairs. But it didn't say by a God. Now, I know there are a lot of you out there that are probably going to send me comments saying, Blasphemous son of a bitch.
That's for blasphemy.
Well, that may be the fact. I don't know. But I think I'll be okay. If there is this God that pretty much all of these religions believe in, and they believe that it's a kind and forgiving God, I think it's okay. I think it's okay for humans to think there could be a big guy up there or a big gal up there that created this and that's watching over us. And when we come to our demise, we'll go up to this lofty perch and be with this God. That's possible. But then again, there might not. And everything that you believed in, that you fought for, that other people fought for, that other nations fought for, killed for, would have been for naught if there's not a God. Now you're probably saying, well, how can I not believe in a God? It's not that I don't believe in a God. I don't not believe in a God. Does that make sense? I don't not believe in it.
I'm confused!
I believe in the possibility of a God, of a supreme being, of a creator. Possibility's there. But is it the God that these religions write about, talk about, study about, debate about? I don't know. I don't claim to know. Don't care to know. Religion and God, or your spirituality, or your peace of mind, or your moral value, are all different things to me. They don't necessarily need to be governed by a certain structure. As a human being, I think you're born with an innate sense of good, of moral, of everything that's right for the world and in the world. I think you live and learn all the other bad shit that creates suffering and guilt and stress and everything. That makes you fall into, oh, I gotta believe in this so that I can go somewhere and be happy in my afterlife.
I want at least one person from this family to go to heaven.
Okay, that's cool. Believe in what you may. You may think the way I think. You may not think the way I think. That's okay. I don't fault you for it, so I hope you don't fault me for what I think. And notice when I say anything about me, I think. I don't believe. Believing closes the mind, doesn't allow you to let other options come into being. I believe in this, I believe in it this way. Nobody can tell me different. And when someday, somehow, someone or something does tell you different, you go, oh, okay, I believe in this now, and now I believe in this, and now I believe in it, and nobody can tell me different. Well, I think this happened. I think that could have happened. And I think that could have happened, and this could have happened. Whatever when it comes to God, or the lack of a God. People will say, well, how do you think all this happened? You think it just happened? It's a possibility. Shit happens sometimes.
Shit happens.
I don't know. Not saying it did happen. I'm not saying I believe that's the way it happened. And I'm not one of those that says there is no God. I believe there is no God. Can't be. No way. There are the people out there in the world that have that viewpoint. Okay, you can have that viewpoint that there is no God. There is nothing out there beyond this. And this is pretty good, I think. I mean, it's all good. Is there anything better after this? I don't know. There are those people out there that say, no, it is. Done. Boom. You're done, you're done. That's it. You're worm poop. That's what you are. You're all nothing but worm poop after it's done. Kind of a gross thought. Any rate, I don't think that way. But I don't fault those that do. I do have a problem when it comes to God and the beliefs of religions and spiritualities and this and that. The people out there that cast aspersions onto people like me or other people that think differently. We don't all have to think the same. It would be a very boring, scary world. And if there is a God, that God would probably say, oh, this sucks. I think that God might like a little variety. I'm not going to get into the discussion about which religion has the right God. Christianity's God any better or any different than the Islam God, or the Hindu's God, or the Buddhist gods, or any other God that's believed out there. I'm not going to get into that. You know, there are people out there, and again, scholars and theologians that will say, well, this book says that, and this writing says this, and this scroll says this, and all of that happy crap. It's all documentation from the human being. Those of you out there will probably say, well, those human beings were inspired by that God to write this. Maybe. Don't know. I can't say I believe that. I say it's possible. So I leave the options open. I don't think that's a bad thing. What I wonder, and I know this is a silly thought, how humans over the millennia got rid of all the gods. Thousands of years ago, humanity had some cool gods that they believed in. Not that I would think any different now if people thought that they were still around. I just think to myself, how did humanity narrow it all down to this one God? In the Christian belief, it's the God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity thing. In the Islamic religion, it's Allah. It's the one God. It's got many prophets, but one God. Hinduism or Buddhism, I get them confused. One of those religions, or both of them, they do have many gods of different sectors of life, but not like the gods of old. You know, remember all those gods that we now call mythology? You know, Thor, Odin, Poseidon, Zeus. Gotta like Zeus. Come on. Came down and had sex with humans and created demigods. Created Hercules. Now that's some cool stories. Do I believe that happened? It's possible. But I wonder why the elimination of those gods. I'd be curious to know that. I'm sure there's plenty of documentation out there and books and all sorts of stuff that talk about that transition from the mythology of all of these gods down to uno, number one. That'd be interesting to know. Hey, leave me a comment if anybody knows a certain publication or book that would be good to read, you know, that would give me some facts and figures about that. Again, don't know if I'd believe all those facts and figures, but I would think that they're probably possible. Huh? All right. All of this is for your edification about me. Because as we go on through life together in this wonderful podcast of Man Up with Mark, these first several podcasts, I wanted to make sure that you guys and gals out there kind of knew who's on the screen talking this gibberish that I'm going to talk about over the coming days and weeks and months, and hopefully years.
Probably will.
You can go back and refer to this and go, oh yeah, that's what he said about this. Yeah, now I remember. Okay, that's why this guy is like the way he is. I just kind of wanted to let you know what I think about in life, love, family, existing. Leave any comments, suggestions on my email address at mark@manupwithmark.com. And if you would, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, because that makes all those algorithm thingies like me more, and it'll push me out there to the world more, and more people will watch me. And who knows, I might get somebody that watches me and says, this guy is so fucked up, why is he even on the internet? Any rate, until next week, see ya.
If you have a question or comment, email Mark at manupwithmark.com.